Welcome back to LSMN Overtime. Episode 4 is here, and we've got a full slate of highlights and stories from around the district. I'm Alex Estrada. Let's kick off with some women's soccer. On Friday, Flower Mound women's soccer took on Braswell. The Lady Jags were heavily favored, and it showed early, with Katie Pinto getting the first goal just minutes into the game. It was Ella Heath's night, however. She would complete a hat trick in about 10 minutes of game time, giving Flower Mound a sizable advantage. They continued to pour it on, making it a staggering 10-0 towards the end of the half. Tori Hoffman nearly had a long buzzer beater, but was denied as the clock hit 0. Hoffman would get redemption, however, scoring this goal to make it 11-0. For good measure, Captain Natalia Villegas would add on another goal late as the Jags mercy rolled Braswell with a final score of 12-0. Last Tuesday, Flower Mound and Marcus faced off in an up-close and personal game. Through the first half, many attempts on the goal were made by Marcus' aggressive offense, however none were successful, as Flower Mound's defense was able to keep up. The first would end with both goalies trading impressive saves. It was in the second half, though, that Marcus was able to secure the first and only goal of the game by Maria Lepore. From there, the game went back and forth, exchanging pushes to the goal for the rest of the game. And Marcus' defense was able to keep the score stagnant, winning the game 1-0. It was an exciting week for the rest of the women's soccer division as Hebron took on Louisville and beat them 4-1, with the win moving Hebron above 500 in the districts. The Colony faced Newman Smith at home and lost to Newman Smith 1-0. The loss would bump Colony down to a 1-10 record. Moving on to the men, this Tuesday night we had an exciting matchup with Louisville and Hebron. The match started with Hebron making several shots to Louisville, missing the majority. Louisville would have its turn on offense, attempting several shots but missing all of them. Elijah James would have a hard entry to a Hebron player, receiving the first yellow card of the match. Hebron kept trying to score their first goal, but Matthias Barrios scored the first one of the night for Louisville, with Julian Lemus following that up with a fantastic long shot that hit the Hebron net. Hebron didn't give up, with Ricky Garcia making the first goal for Hebron, but Louisville would win the match 2-1 after dominating the game. Looking at scores for the rest of the division, the Colony took on Newman Smith and would tie 2-2. The loss puts Colony 7th in the district standings, and Marcus would face off against Flower Mound, beating them 2-0. The win moves Marcus to 9-1-2 in district, and Flower Mound falls to 3-6-3. The regular season is beginning to wrap up for men and women's soccer, so let's look ahead at all 5 teams' final matchups for the season. Flower Mound finishes the season at Hebron. Marcus ends the year playing Coppell. Louisville takes on Little Elm. The Colony finishes the year playing Lone Star. We're in the final stretch of the season, so these games will determine who will be competing for the championship this year in the playoffs. Hebron has had a strong start to the season, highlighted by pitcher Katie Busey getting her 350th strikeout in her career. We sent our very own Luke Dallas to talk to the team.
Hebron brings a unique energy to the field with every game. Hear more from the players.
I'll bring a positive energy and mindset into our tournaments, because if we start to get down, then it's not going to be well.
We've been really excited, and our energy in the dugout has completely shifted. Doing your best all the time, going 100% or more. I feel like that's a mentality we've definitely had.
As a team, they know how to put adversity behind them and keep going.
We're always very supportive towards each other. I feel like that's a lot of our focus during the games. Softball is a very hard sport, obviously, so it's really easy to get down on yourself. And so I think if we have that mentality shift, that's what really helps us get through errors and tough innings.
We cheer each other on all the time. We're always helping each other, bringing each other up when we see someone's down.
And shaking off any errors we create.
Hebron has a clear focus for the future of this season.
We're not scared to attack the ball. We're aggressive, and we're definitely there to win. Winning is the only option for us.
With LSMN Overtime, I'm Luke Dallas.
Looking back at scores around the district, Hebron faced off against Coppell and beat them 3-2. Marcus would travel to Louisville, where they won 11-1, and Flower Mound lost to Walnut Grove 1-8. Looking ahead for the rest of the week in softball, the Colony takes on Wakeland at home. Hebron travels to Marcus for an intense divisional matchup. Louisville takes on Denton Braswell, and Flower Mound takes on Little Elm. Looking at baseball for the first time this year, Flower Mound travels to China Spring, Louisville versus Lindale, Marcus takes on Mater Dei, Hebron takes on Coppell, and the Colony travels to Panther Creek. Now let's head over to Aiden McGee in the Star Studio for this week's Spotlight.
Well, the beat rolls on for last year's district MVP, Macy Pringle. She has had an incredible season again this year, leading Flower Mound all the way to the state finals. Against North Crowley, Pringle had a career game with 24 points and 8 rebounds. She also dazzled on defense with 7 steals and 4 blocks, as the Lady Jags held North Crowley to just 39 points. On Tuesday in the state semifinal, Pringle led the Jaguars to the win over Cedar Hill, and in the process broke the all-time single-season points record for the Lady Jags with 775 points. Despite just being a junior, she has already cemented herself as arguably the greatest player in Lady Jags history. The Jaguars will play for the state championship on Saturday at 5 p.m., looking to win the first title in school history. That's all for this week's Spotlight. If you have an athlete you want us to highlight, tag us on X at LSMN Sports. Now back over to Alex at the LSMN Press Box set.
Speaking of Pringle and the Jags, they are heading off to the state championship game for the first time ever. Aiden McGee and Luke Dallas got a chance to talk to them as they prepare to make history.
The Lady Jags are headed to the state finals for the first time ever.
I think it comes back to off-season, hard work. The kids have bought in since day one about defense and what it takes to get to the next level. After last year, we wanted to go further than we did last year, so we bought in off-season. We took a lot of shots. We got a lot of shots up, but overall, we just worked on being able to pressure and make people earn it for 32 minutes.
I feel like we've had a lot of new minds coming on the team, so just being really technical with our scouting reports and just being fresh in the brain about basketball.
Everyone shows up every day. They work really hard. We adjust to situations really well, and we have a really good coaching staff.
Despite a tough playoff loss last year and new faces, the Lady Jags have come back even stronger.
Obviously, it was a hard loss, but we knew that, we had a good nucleus coming back, and we had the belief that we had the foundation set with our fundamentals and our habits, and we believed that could help us, take the next step this year.
We definitely had an entire change of personnel, so adjusting how we pressed, how we changed, how we moved like the ball, shot selection, all sorts of things. So just a lot of adjustment, and we did that really well this year.
We have definitely a younger team this year, but it's just good. Like, we have good chemistry, and we've been playing with each other. Like me, Macy, Lorelai, Emily, we've been playing each other since last year, so it's just good that we have like us four at least to keep the team going.
Adversity doesn't break them, it builds them.
I'd say resilient. I feel like we've had a couple of times where we've been shown how hard can we fight, how hard can we, go through adversity. So I'd say resilience out of all the things. We have a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors that came in from JV, and a lot of people that haven't really dealt with the pressures of being on varsity. So just adversity, getting through adversity. So resilience is definitely what I would describe it as.
Definitely competitive and gritty because we obviously had a rough district, and just like playing through that and just getting through that and playing hard teams, and as far as we've gone, I'm really proud of this team.
Gritty, just hardworking, and they just love each other. They don't want it to end because they enjoy being around each other, and that's, as a coach, that's all you can ask for. Kids that get along, that play hard for each other, they're a joy to be around, but they're just gritty. They love the grind, and they don't want it to end yet.
For LSMN Overtime, I'm Aiden McGee.
The Colony men's basketball team made it to the second round of the playoffs, where they unfortunately lost by just 4 points to Lovejoy. But the loss doesn't discredit an amazing season by the Cougars and the seniors who have made the playoffs all 4 years of their high school career. Now it's time to head back over to Aiden McGee in our virtual studio for this week's Grad Star.
This week's Grad Star is the Utah Jazz star point guard Keontae George. A former Louisville Farmer, George had a ridiculous freshman year for LHS, winning District's Offensive Player of the Year, averaging 21 points per game. He was a consensus 5-star recruit, and after playing college ball at Baylor, he was drafted 16th overall by the Jazz. George has had an amazing season this year for Utah, averaging about 24 points per game to go along with 6 assists and 4 rebounds. George is sure to be a big part of Utah's future as they look to climb up the standings in the next couple of years. If you have a grad star you would like to see highlighted, let us know on X at LSMN Sports. Now back over to Alex at the desk.
That's all the time we have for this episode of LSMN Overtime. With spring break ahead, we'll be stepping away for a couple of weeks, but we will be back on April 2nd with more highlights and stories from around the district. For everyone here at LSMN, I'm Alex Estrada. Thanks for watching, enjoy the break, and we'll see you next time right here on LSMN Overtime.